All right, welcome to this space where we get to enjoy our own company for a while. We'll begin with our first inhale, inviting ourselves into our own space. So begin by inhaling through the nose, softening the jaw, and taking in a full breath. Slowly sipping in the air, noticing if your chest is full and your abdomen is full. And if you struggle with that, just stop at the top of the breath. Pause for a moment and try to inhale just a little bit more. And then begin to exhale. Making that connection deeper. Inhale again. Allow the shoulders to relax. Allowing yourself to contact the sensations within. Slowing down the pace. And allowing yourself to fill up completely before we exhale. When you get to the top of that breath, notice the effort that was put in to feeling full, to engaging and including self before exhaling. And we're each going at our own pace, which is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Exhaling completely, tightening the core, allowing any of the residue that might be left, lingering, to release. One more inhale. Softening the brows, jawline. The thoughts as we prepare to go into this experience. Holding that space on full again. Documenting what fullness feels like. What abundance feels like before we exhale. When you get to the bottom of that exhale, just come back to your regular breathing pattern. And just allow yourself to be exactly where you are today. For some of us, we might be tired. For some of us, you might be energetic, motivated, confident. Wherever that is, that's your starting point today. Notice and honor it. And even though it might feel like a negative to you, like for example, tiredness, I get to approach the day from a softer space, from a slower space. And the same goes with energetic or confident. You get to use that approach as a tool to help you in your day, and maybe also to help others. But it begins with you. Think about energy the way you think about money. And think about your spending habits. For a lot of us, as soon as there are some finances available, we already spent it in our minds. We've already made plans of what we would do if we had a lot of money. Very few of us dream about having less. It's always more. And the goal, the way we convince ourselves is by telling ourselves, yeah, but you know what I can do if I had so much? So just coming back into yourself now, thinking about your spending habits and connecting it to energy. When you do have that energy, how do you spend it? Or do you save it? Or do you never have enough? And noticing that is a mindset more than it is a reality. I was communicating with somebody yesterday, and earlier in the week I was teaching her this concept of abundance. And she's like, if I made a few $100s more, I would be okay. And she was trying to find a way to get something for cheaper. And I said to her, again, she's used to this practice, so we were able to use the concept of creating abundance and feeling full and understanding that no matter how much money would be available, if it doesn't begin with an abundant energy, it will be more difficult to access and facilitate the abundance when it does show up. because more is always available. There is so much love available. There is so much compassion available. And for so many of us, we choose to restrict that experience and say, I will only be happy if and when I reach a certain space. So I walked her through this experience in person, and she actually succeeded in reaching that goal within 2 days. And acquiring exactly what she needed to within 2 days. And she said she felt really, really vulnerable. And I said to her, she has permission to feel that love. Because the abundance is there for us. But rather than thinking about it the way we think about money, where when we have it, we want to spend it, thinking about energy as when we have it, we can invest it. Putting it somewhere where it can grow. It's like planting seeds. And that is when we focus on ourselves and understand that the energy flows through us. It's our job to allow this shefa, which is abundance, to channel through us and into this world. Because when we think about the Olam Asiya, which is the world of action, right? The actual action component. The action component is us being active. And we bring into this world, we birth into this world whatever we believe. You know, it starts with a thought and then turns into an action. But it's always channeled through us. And we all know the impact of negative behavior and how infectious that could be. But it works the same for positive actions and abundance. When we want abundance in our life, the action that is required is taking in a deep inhale, expanding the lungs and the abdomen, and feeling completely full. And I always say, to eat properly takes work. If we're eating nutritiously, there's a lot of mindfulness that is required. For a mindful experience, it requires wholesome actions. So knowing that that abundance and that love is always available to us, And rather than thinking about how much money you're going to make, where you're going to go with it, what you're going to do, that is something that we are always worrying about. Try an experiment where you hold space and you channel through the energy just once. Rather than the external experience, try investing. In a world where you are feeling completely good. And that means, it doesn't mean walk away from your life, because that's not a reality. The reality is, find a space where you can sit with yourself get to know yourself better, using the sense of the power of listening. So hearing yourself out rather than coming from a judgmental space, filtering through those thoughts, allowing whatever that comes up to be there. And then focusing on a positive sensation rather than a painful one. Because feeling good begins with feeling good. There are certain things that can stimulate a good feeling. But for the longevity of feeling good, one of those parts is really committing and conditioning your space to feeling good. In my book, Interior Designer, I really talk about the rules of interior design and the importance of them in building the interior self. A lot of people will say, I'm not sure how to do that. But on some level, every single one of us spends so much time trying to condition our experience. And that is either through the clothes we wear. For some of us, it's how our home looks. For others, it's a car they drive. And for some, it's a social environment. We dress our reality. But sometimes we say, or we think really, that we want to do it so that we can feel better. Not realizing that feeling good begins with feeling good. So begin by asking yourself that question: do I feel comfortable in my own space? Is my home physically and emotionally, right? So is your body a space you like to be in? And that is something that many of us struggle with on a day-to-day basis. So it's important to invest some time in liking yourself, supporting that atmosphere. And it usually begins with taking some time for yourself. by yourself with no distractions. Often enough. To the point that it's enjoyable. So that's one approach. The second approach is also knowing what it is that you're taking in. Like food, knowing that the experiences that we take in need nutritious value. Are the activities that we engage with, are they nutritious and wholesome? And just like eating healthy takes thought and patience and education and support and discipline, to create a healthy environment for ourselves, it takes thought, energy, support, education, and discipline. And for some of us, we need a food plan and a shopping list. So noticing what in our day needs that kind of structure so that we complete the day feeling wholesome. Notice what wholesome feels to you. Where do you feel it in your body? Taking another inhale and experience it internally. It's difficult to control our thoughts, just like it's difficult to control our emotions. An approach that worked for me was, rather than trying to control the thoughts, right? The thoughts are almost like a reaction to what we've taken in. So it's like chachma, bina, and then the das, the wisdom and the understanding, right? And it creates this, like, thoughts are something that are conceived. It's a judgment. We come to a conclusion on something. It's an opinion. But to have an opinion, we have to observe first. So the question is, what are we observing? And if you're in a space where you're observing healthy things, the thought process will automatically be healthier or higher in nutrition. It's like thinking about a calm environment. If you've listened to loud or aggressive music, it's going to be difficult to feel calm after that, because the body just observed something high in tempo. And if you listen to calm music, it can be the foundation for a supportive experience. So for that second concept, it's really about noticing that number one, with number one, to feel good, you need to actually create that feeling of feeling good, create an atmosphere. And number two is noticing what you're taking in. What is the intake? Because that is what you'll feel. And just like if you've eaten too much sugar, or you've eaten something that is so high in calorie, it creates a deficiency for the things that actually are needed in the space. And to create a more wholesome experience, it requires a wholesome environment. And some mindfulness. So thank you so much for joining me today and every other day. For these lives. It's a free meditation sponsored by Ujjayi. I am Esther, your host. Thank you so much for joining.